Hey guys. This video has mentions of death and may have some sensitive topics, so if you don't feel comfortable, please click off. This is kinda my first time trying to write a proper angst, so yeah. If you prefer reading it at your own pace rather than watching this video, go read this on AO3. Link is in the description, so please don't judge me. This is part 1, so there isn't much angst. The angst comes in more in the second part, so stay tuned. Anyways, I really hope you enjoy this. It took me absolutely ages to write because I'm slow. Anyways, enjoy. BokuAka always had a love for the moon and the stars. Just the sight of a full moon laid among an ocean of twinkling stars enticed him, and he didn't know why, but the feeling just made him happy. BokuAka was running late to school. He had woken up late due to having stayed up all night on a love quarrel. He had tried to get to sleep so many times but failed miserably, so just decided to stay up and stare at the night sky out of his bedroom window. His negative thoughts had gotten the better of him, though that was no surprise. When did his thoughts ever have anything positive to say about him? Damn. This is the 4th time this week I've been late. BokuAka had just woken up a mere 10 minutes ago and had to skip breakfast and just change into his school uniform and pack his bag. Shortly after confirming he had all his books ready for the day, he had quickly rushed out the front door and started a quick jog towards 𝕬𝕗𝕬𝕝 Academy. Letting the music playing from his earphones take his thoughts away, he thought deeply about many things. His mind should have been set on schoolwork and tasks that he had to do for the day. Anything school related really. He also needed to work out what excuse he would use this time for being late. He couldn't just use the same excuses that he'd used in previous times he'd been late. However, all his thoughts were not school related at all, and instead consisted of something different. Consisted of the same thing. Or rather, the same person. Kiji Akashi. The person that BokuAka had fallen for. The person that had been keeping BokuAka up at night. And unfortunately, the very same person that BokuAka had just gotten into an argument with. Akashi could never love a freak like you. You think Akashi is ignoring you for no reason? Are you serious? He's ignoring you because you exist. Just leave him alone already. You're unwanted. This is the pain you deserve anyways. It's not like you're anything special. Just another unimportant person in Akashi's life that he can get rid of whenever he pleases. No, stop it. Get out of my head. BokuAka mentally cursed himself as these thoughts were the cause of preventing him from sleeping. Why is life so hard? As if I don't have enough to worry about with number. I can't think about that. BokuAka arrived at school, out of breath, and quickly rushed towards his second class. Yes, he had completely missed the whole of his first lesson. Just like yesterday and the day before and the day before. Gosh, what has my life come to? He quietly entered the classroom as the teacher nodded at him and he apologized and took his seat. Class was boring and anyone who thought otherwise would have to be crazy. BokuAka had spent the whole lesson quietly listening to music through his earphones and jotting down a few notes here and there. All that played through his mind was Akashi this and Akashi that. His thoughts were just full of Akashi. Some positive thoughts as well as some negative. Akashi is my best friend. He would never leave me. Akashi is getting sick of my immature behavior. That's why he's ignoring me. Akashi cares for me as much as I care for him. Akashi will just leave me. He hates me. Class was already bad enough. Having these thoughts torment him wasn't making the situation any better. Since last week, Akashi had been distant with BokuAka. Whenever BokuAka would approach him, he would either just turn in the other direction and pretend he didn't see him or make up an excuse to leave. Yes, it was true that Akashi wasn't a very social person, but BokuAka and him were best friends. Why would Akashi all of a sudden act like this? Lunch slowly approached and BokuAka opened the door to the canteen. As he stepped in, he noticed Konoha waiting at their usual table. BokuAka walked over to him and sat down. Hey BokuAka, where's Akashi? Konoha asked with a questioning face. Actually, I don't know. You don't know? But don't you normally wait for him outside his classroom before coming here? Yeah, I do. So you didn't wait for him today? No. I went to his classroom and waited outside for a couple minutes before deciding to peek inside the classroom, and nobody was in there. Their class had already left. Akashi left me. What? That doesn't make sense. If he got let out earlier, then he would have waited outside of your classroom. Yeah, well, maybe Akashi doesn't want to wait for me anymore. Maybe Akashi is so sick of me that he doesn't want to be friends anymore. Whoa, where did that assumption come from? Konoha asked, concerned. Hey bro. Hey Konoha. Hey. Kuru and Kenma came up to the two from behind, holding lunch trays in their hands. What's up guys? Kuru asked, analyzing Bokuto and Konoha's facial expressions. Why do you two look so, I don't know, like, sad? Just what I was about to say, Kuru said, grabbing onto Kenma's hand and guiding him to their seats around the table, before sitting down. So, what's wrong guys, and where's Akashi? I actually don't know. Huh? You don't know? But don't you two normally come here together? Kuru looked between Bokuto and Konoha questioningly. Hey, did something happen between you two? Kenma murmured. How did you know? Kenma rolled his eyes. I mean, you two normally go everywhere together, spend every second of the day together. I swear I hardly ever see you two apart. But now, you seem more distant. Plus, you, Kenma said, pointing at Bokuto, are in even more of an emo mood than usual. Kuru and Konoha chuckled whilst Bokuto just sat there and pouted. Well, as if I didn't know that already. Bokuto said, still holding a pout. Come on bro, why don't you go and try and find Akashi now? He can't be far, right? This school isn't that big. Maybe take this time to work out the problems between you two. But bro, you don't understand. Bokuto looked at Kuru with broken eyes. Akashi was so mad at me yesterday. He shouted at me and I. Bokuto's voice cracked and he felt his eyes burning. He said. Bokuto's voice cracked once more. He wants to be left alone. What if he doesn't want to be friends anymore? Bokuto had snapped and he was panicking. His breathing became quick and he could feel a soft tear roll down his face. Hey deep breaths Kaotarao. Kenma said, moving closer to Bokuto and rubbing his back. It's going to be okay. Akashi is your best friend. He's bound to come around, trust me. I know he will. Kenma said, reassuringly. Maybe just give him some space. Could you have possibly done anything to upset him? Kenma carried on rubbing Bokuto's back as Kuru stared at Kenma in awe. He was so proud. Proud of how far Kenma had come. I'm so proud of how much you've grown, Kenma. Not that I know of. I've just been myself. After a while, he once again let his negative thoughts consume him. He was in a dark place and just didn't know how to escape. He had come to a realization. And this realization hit him like a bombshell. But maybe that's the issue. Maybe me being myself is the issue. What are you talking about? Akashi loves being around you. You're the only person that he's really truly open to. Konoha said, voice slightly shaky. He didn't want Bokuto to fall into his deep emo mood because he wouldn't know how to deal with it. He wouldn't even know where to start if he was to try and cheer him up. The only person that knows how to deal with Bokuto's deep emo mood is Akashi. And Akashi wasn't an option right now. No. He doesn't like being around me. He just puts up with me. That's all. He doesn't even care for me. Bokuto's voice slowly turned into a whisper, letting his emotions get the better of him. Tears were rolling down his cheeks. Or love me at all. His voice could barely be heard, but nonetheless, his three friends could hear him loud and clear. Not like I love him. Oh Bokuto. Kuru said, standing up from his seat and wrapping his arms around Bokuto. Don't think like that. I am positive that Akashi loves and cares about you, okay? I'm sure that Akashi is just going through some problems right now, but just focus on yourself for now, okay? Give him some time. It will all be alright. Konoha and Kenma both joined in with the embrace around Bokuto. Bokuto let his tears run free. He let out a small smile. Thanks guys. You're really the best friends I could have ever wished for. Lunch was coming to an end. Bokuto thought about his friend's advice and took it in. He decided that it was for the best if he and Akashi distanced a little bit. At least until Akashi was ready to talk. 2 weeks later and Akashi was still being distant. However, in the last couple days, he had been speaking to Bokuto a little more. It was Friday and Bokuto decided that he would talk to Akashi today. After school. He was going to do it. All the lessons went by like a breeze, as Bakuto's mind was only set on Akashi. What should I say? Kiji is ready to talk to me now, right? Before Bakuto even realized, the end of the day was just around the corner. He was sat down in his last lesson for the day, maths. The teacher was going through some sums on the board, explaining the lesson for the day when suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Bakuto spun around to face the door when he caught a glimpse of a familiar face peering behind the see-through panel of the door. Hey Akashi. Bakuto immediately stood up and excused himself from the lesson. The teacher understood and let him leave. She had noticed that Bakuto hadn't been himself for around 2 weeks now, because of his problems with Akashi, so let him sort it out and hoped that he would go back to his normal, cheery self soon. He gently opened the door but kept his eyes on the floor, refusing to make eye contact with Akashi and refusing to get too close to him. He had let his nerves get the better of him. 𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬𝕬. It's only Akashi. He's your best friend. It's going to be fine. Akashi noticed the distance between the two and crept his hand over to Bakuto's and gently interlocked their fingers, pulling him closer and slowly guiding him outside into a more secluded area of the school. Wait, what's he doing? They had arrived near the back of the school where nobody could really find them and Akashi spoke. I'm sorry Kaotaro. Akashi let go of Bakuto's hand. It was wrong of me to ignore you because of my own personal problems. I just figured that I would forget easier if I distanced myself from you. Well, turns out that was the wrong choice. Wait, forget easier? Oh, forget I said that. Bakuto looked at Akashi with a puzzled expression. Forget? What was he trying to forget? Was he trying to forget me? His expression saddened as he tried to push that thought out of his mind. He wouldn't want to forget about me, right? He wasn't sure what to think at this point. However, there was one thing he knew. He knew that Akashi was not going to waltz out of his life again. Not anytime soon. Not if he had anything to say about it. Just know that I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I hope you can forgive me. Bakuto's expression softened as he wrapped his arms tightly around Akashi and smiled softly. It's okay Kiji, I forgive you. I'm just glad to be with you again. Meanwhile, Akashi was mentally cursing himself for how much of a fool he'd been to even consider the idea of pushing the number one most important person in his life away. Why would you even try to ignore Bakuto? He probably hates you now. I bet he doesn't actually forgive you. Did you see Bakuto throughout these past 2 weeks? He's been so upset and it's all your fault. You mistake. Turns out, Bakuto wasn't the only one having negative thoughts. Hey, what do you say we get out of here? Go to the park and just relax for an hour or so? Yeah, sounds good. Little did they know that this 1 hour would turn into 2 hours, then 3 hours, then 4 hours, and then before they knew it, the night had already approached and the sun had set for the day. The two boys were seated in the local park in the area, lying with their backs against the grass. The night had arrived, which meant that it was already getting quite late. However, time didn't bother the two as they both spent their time chatting and taking in the view of the park at night. Hey, Cal. MHM. You want to know the real reason why I got so mad at you? Why I ignored you? Well, I know it's because I'm being too clingy and annoying. Akashi. It's not. It's not. Bakuto had spent this whole time thinking that Akashi was mad at him and that it was his fault. That if he was just a better friend, Akashi would have no reason to get mad. But now, Akashi was contradicting that idea. Forgive me Kaotaro. Akashi cupped Bakuto's face and placed a kiss on his lips. I've been ignoring you because I wanted to get rid of these silly feelings I have for you. I just figured that distancing myself from you would make them go away. Turns out that that's not how it works. Guess I was foolish like I always am. I know you don't feel the same way and I respect that. Just please don't hate me. I love you Kiji. Wait Akashi's heart began racing, feeling his cheeks burn up. There's no way I heard that correctly. I love you. Bakuto had finally said it. He finally confessed. He did the one thing that he has been waiting to do forever and he couldn't have felt any better. I don't deserve you. Akashi gently rested his head onto Bakuto's shoulder. I love you too. And that was the start of a whole new life for the two boys. 10 years later. It was another regular day. BokuAka plugged his earphones in, clicked play on his playlist and grasped his pen and started scribbling down something in his notebook. Music. The route to escape from reality. The route to forget your worries, even if it was just for a little while. 𝕬𝕗𝕗. Akashi came up from behind BokuAka, pulling him into a back hug and nuzzling his head into the crook of BokuAka's neck. Hey Kashi. Are you okay? Yeah I am thank you. And still calling me Akashi huh? It's Kiji BokuAka to you now. Yeah Akashi. BokuAka chuckled. Anyways, what you doing? It's just a shopping list. Huh? Did he just stutter? Oh well I'm sure it's nothing important. I'm okay. Well do you want to help me cook dinner? BokuAka's eyes sparkled. Sure thing my love. Akashi blushed. He'd never really gotten used to the feeling of being addressed that. He'd always just assumed that he was nothing special and that nobody would ever love him enough to call him that. Well he was very wrong. In fact, extremely wrong. He was always going to be wrong if BokuAka existed in the world and was there to give Akashi all the love he deserved. Plus, they were married after all. They headed to the kitchen and Akashi took the ingredients out of the fridge. Ramen? I know how much you love ramen. Yes please. BokuAka beamed as he walked over to the cabinets and drawers to take out the bowls and utensils. Eek. I'm so excited to cook with you Kiji. I'm really excited too cow. And that evening, Akashi and BokuAka spent preparing ramen noodles for dinner. Akashi glanced over at BokuAka every so often to catch small glimpses of his heartwarming smiles as he excitedly paced around the kitchen and helped prepare the ingredients. After preparing, they finally sat down and took in the view of the delicious noodles in front of them. That was so fun Kiji. We should cook ramen together more often like this. We should 𝕬𝕗𝕗. How about next Friday we do the same thing? Sure. But we should also try cooking other food as well in the future. Akashi smiled as he thought about all the possible food he could cook with BokuAka. It wasn't like Akashi actually enjoyed cooking that much, but just the thought of BokuAka being there by his side, having so much fun and enjoying every second of it, was enough to make Akashi excited for the next time they were going to cook. Wait. Kiji. On my birthday, we should make ramen. I know you like staying home in the evenings so that's what we should do. But it's your birthday. We should be doing what you want to do. Not staying home just because I like to. Akashi grinned as he thought about how happy he was to have someone like BokuAka in his life. Someone that loved him so much. Nah. Whatever you want to do, we shall do. Oh and I've also got so many plans on places I want to go during the day. I'm sure we're gonna have lots of fun. Wait Kiji look. BokuAka pointed out the window and Akashi's gaze met what BokuAka was pointing to. It's a full moon. Yes. And look at the stars Kiji. Look at the stars. It's so beautiful. It really is. BokuAka's eyes glimmered as he admired the bright shining moon that was surrounded by twinkling stars, scattered along the night sky. BokuAka had a habit of pointing out whenever there was a full moon and honestly, Akashi didn't mind it at all. It amazed him how something so simple like a full moon could make someone so excited. Whilst BokuAka was admiring the view, Akashi took the chance to look at BokuAka. He looked a bit worn out and tired but Akashi reassured himself that it was just because it was a pretty rough day today. He took in the sight of all BokuAka's features and sighed happily. God am I lucky to have married this man. After the two finished eating their food, they decided to have a movie marathon. Akashi grabbed a load of DVDs from the cabinet and they spent the night watching movies. Snuggled in the warm red blanket that kept them close together, BokuAka stroked Akashi's hair now and then. Every few minutes, he made funny side comments about the movie, that without a fail, made Akashi giggle every time. Neither was really that invested in the movie, rather invested in each other instead. 6 hours had passed in no time and they had fallen deep asleep in each other's arms, wrapped cozy on the sofa. The next morning, BokuAka woke up to find Akashi snuggled close to him. Morning Kiji, I'll go and make some breakfast for you. BokuAka carefully slipped himself off of the sofa, making sure not to create too much movement so that he didn't jolt Akashi awake and slowly made his way to the kitchen, taking out the ingredients to make Akashi breakfast. Okay today's the day I'm going to give it to him. Akashi's eyes fluttered open and his brain slowly processed his surroundings and he noticed 𝕀𝕐𝕐 making breakfast. Morning cow. Kiji. Morning. Wait, oh no, was I too loud? Did I wake you up? No. Don't worry. Oh good. Well, breakfast is nearly ready. Thank you. No problem, Akashi. Now come and sit at the table. They ate and talked about their plans for the day before 𝕀𝕐𝕐 suddenly remembered. He scrambled over to their bedroom and quickly grabbed a small blue box and came back. 𝕀𝕐𝕐 then clasped onto Akashi's hands and placed the box carefully into Akashi's. Huh? What is this? Okay, well, I can't tell you. And you can't open it either. What? Then why did you give it to me if I can't know what's inside? Well, you see. Can you promise me something? Nah. Kiji. Yes, of course I can. Promise me that you'll only open this box when you feel the most lonely in your life. Like when you're needing support. Huh? What a strange promise. Yeah, sure. You promise? 𝕀𝕐𝕐 stared earnestly. I promise. 2 days later. Kiji, over here. Over here. Look, I won the jackpot. Akashi and 𝕀𝕐𝕐 were in an arcade, out for a break from work. 𝕀𝕐𝕐 squealed excitedly as 1,000 tickets won flashed on the screen and the tickets started being dispensed from the side of the machine. 𝕀𝕐𝕐's eyes were glued to the tickets being dispensed whilst Akashi's were glued onto 𝕀𝕐𝕐's joy-filled face. It had been a while since both had been to an arcade and there was no doubt that 𝕀𝕐𝕐 loved playing on the different machines, ranging from the 2p pushing machines to the simulation machines, trying to win the jackpots. Akashi did enjoy going to the arcades. In fact, on their first date they spent hours playing on the machines, wasting their money away until they had none left. The memories really do bring me back. After another hour of hanging around in the arcade, 𝕀𝕐𝕐 fed his tickets into the ticket feeder and on the screen flashed 3,440. Yes, I finally have enough to get it. 𝕀𝕐𝕐 rushed over to the counter where all the prizes that you could claim with tickets were and he exchanged the tickets he won for a prize. Hey miss. Please could I have that one? 𝕀𝕐𝕐 pointed to the prize on the top shelf. This one? Yes please. Alright, here you go. The worker handed 𝕀𝕐𝕐 2 small keychains. 1 moon charm and 1 star charm. 𝕀𝕐𝕐 immediately attached the moon charm to his jacket zipper and held the star chain in his hand and then walked away from the counter. He walked around for a couple of minutes before noticing Akashi outside. Confused, 𝕀𝕐𝕐 walked around to the exit and opened the door to leave. Suddenly, he could feel a strange tense feeling lingering around in the air as soon as he left the building, and 𝕀𝕐𝕐 didn't like it one bit. I wonder why Kiji is outside? I thought he said he was going to wait for me inside. 𝕀𝕐𝕐 ran up to Akashi from behind, wrapping his arms tightly around his waist. I was looking for you. Akashi tensed. Huh? 𝕀𝕐𝕐 let go of him as he noticed that Akashi looked a bit dazed. He was staring at another couple. They were fighting. Ugh, are you actually serious? Of course I am. I should be the one asking you that. We came out here to take Akira out on a fun day out. Well, I obviously know that. I was the one that suggested the idea. Clearly, you shouldn't be the one looking after our son with that dirty attitude of yours. Excuse me. Look at you. You're the selfish person here, not even letting me spend time with my son. Akashi just stood there, frozen in place, unable to move even if he wanted to. You mean our son? The woman's eyes started tearing. My goodness, I don't even know why I fell in love with a person like you in the first place. Akashi flinched. The man immediately slipped the ring he had around his finger off and shoved it into the woman's hands. Take it. I don't want it anymore. And the man left, leaving the woman stranded, alone. She sunk to her knees and covered her face with her hands before sobbing. And the sobs. The heart-wrenching sobs that escaped that woman's mouth made Akashi shiver. His heart shattered into a million pieces for her. Akashi, are you alright? Akashi snapped out of his trance and turned to face 𝕀𝕐𝕐. Oh, hey. Akashi, what's wrong? Huh? Nothing's wrong. Don't worry about it. It's stupid anyways. 𝕀𝕐𝕐 grasped onto both of Akashi's hands and brought them to his chest. Nothing you say will ever be stupid, Kiji. I promise I'll be here to listen, okay? Now tell me what's wrong. Akashi took a deep breath in before speaking. Those people. The couple over there, that's. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 glanced over Akashi's shoulder. Fighting? Yeah. Cow. MHM. Akashi turned his head down to face the floor. You don't think we'll ever be like that, right? 𝕁𝕐𝕐 looked at Akashi, puzzled. Well, of course not. But what if you run out of love for me? Kiji. What if one day you decide to leave me? Kiji. What if one day you decide that you don't love me anymore and leave? Akashi's knees gave in, collapsing onto the pavement floor. Tears were running down his cold cheeks as he shivered from the coldness of the air around him. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 wrapped his arms around Akashi, gently stroking his hair. This was a method he had learned worked to calm Akashi down whenever he was in need of support. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to burst out like that. No. Don't ever apologize. It's my fault for making you feel like this. And once again, the same thought that had come to Akashi's mind the day he confessed, had come back. I really don't deserve him. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 decided to change the topic. He didn't want Akashi to be overflowing with these negative emotions. So I went to exchange my tickets and I got us these charms. And look. We match. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 signaled to the moon charm that was now attached to the zipper of his jacket and the star charm that was placed on the palm of his hands. And consider this your happy charm, okay? Whenever you feel sad, just look at this charm and think of it as a reminder of how much I love you. 𝕁𝕐𝕐's eyes glimmered as he smiled brightly. Thank you. You're welcome, Kiji. And that was the day that Akashi decided to attach the star charm to his jacket zipper too. That way, they could really be matching then. 1 month later, it was another normal evening. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 was getting ready to visit Qiru and Akashi was going to just relax at home for the rest of the night. I'm going out to see Qiru now. I'll text you when I get there. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 cupped Akashi's face and kissed his forehead. Okay, have fun, cow. Thanks. Bye and I love you. I love you too. And he left. 𝕁𝕐𝕐 zipped up his jacket before plugging in his earphones, pressing play on his playlist and starting in a slow jog towards his best friend's house. I can't wait to hang out with my couple. It's been so long. But I can't forget to text Akashi. I know if I forget, he's going to start worrying. But that's why I love him. And 𝕁𝕐𝕐 started humming the melody of the song that was playing in his earphones. On 𝕁𝕐𝕐's phone. Now playing. Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley. 4 hours. It had been 4 hours since Akashi had last received a text from 𝕁𝕐𝕐. It wasn't like 𝕁𝕐𝕐 to forget to text Akashi. In fact, he was normally spamming Akashi's phone with texts and memes non-stop throughout the day. So this came as a surprise. Akashi quickly refreshed his messages to see if he had received anything before deciding that 𝕁𝕐𝕐 was probably just having fun with Qiru and forgot to message him. That was what he thought until he received a call from Qiru. 𝕬𝕐𝕐. Don't tell me cow got drunk or something. Akashi answered the phone. Yo Kiji. Where's BokuAka? I've been waiting for like 4 hours, man. Don't tell me he forgot that we were gonna hang out today. Or worse, don't tell me you all got carried away having a movie marathon or dancing or something like that. Akashi's heart dropped. He's not with you. He left the house 4 hours ago. Akashi was panicked. It wasn't like Akashi to lose his cool, but if it was about 𝕁𝕐𝕐, he would. Wait, what? He's not with you either. Brad. Okay, PJ. Let's stay calm. I'll get Kenma. Qiru calls. Come over to my house and we'll try searching for him. He can't be far right. I'm sure he's just gotten distracted and saw something on the displays in a shop or something. Akashi took a deep breath. In and out. He really hoped that Qiru was right. Even though Qiru didn't even seem sure at this point. He was stuttering. Hesitatingly, he agreed and slipped his shoes on before making his way to Qiru and Kenma's house as quickly as he could. Where could he be? Was he alright? Why hasn't he contacted anyone? These were all questions flooding Akashi's head as he tried to convince himself that everything was going to be okay. That they were just going to find 𝕁𝕐𝕐 in a shop, safe and sound. Unfortunately that was not the case. Before Akashi could even knock, the door swung open and a panicked Kenma made immediate eye contact with him. Kenma. Calm down. Okay. I'm sure 𝕐𝕐 is alright. You know how he is. Qiru said. However, an uneasiness in his voice showed that even he was unsure of his own words. Yeah. I'm sure he's fine. Probably knowing him. He got lost here on the way or something. Akashi knew that BokuAka couldn't possibly have gotten lost. He was just making excuses to not think the worst of this situation. He knew that BokuAka regularly visited Haikyuu and always jogged there by foot. He can't possibly have forgotten the same route that he's been taking for years now. He's fine. He's going to be fine. I should stop worrying like an idiot all the time. He's an adult and he can take care of himself. Deceiving other people was easy for Akashi. However, deceiving himself was another story. Haikyuu, Kenma and Akashi all set foot and started walking out of the neighborhood, towards the main town square where they were hoping to find BokuAka. Kenma kept spam calling BokuAka, but every time, the call rang for a while and then went out. Haikyuu kept fiddling with his coat zipper as he attempted to calm Kenma down, even though it was clear that he was losing his cool by every passing second. And Akashi just stared into the dark, starry night sky, trying to push all the negative thoughts that were flooding through his mind away. The night was truly beautiful today. To be honest, Akashi hadn't really taken that close attention to the sky and his surroundings in general before he met BokuAka. BokuAka always had a love for nature. He was specifically a uranophile 𝕊𝕒𝕟. This meant that he had a particular love for the moon and stars. BokuAka helped show him that the most simple things in life mattered. The most simple things like the pretty plants that grew on the sidewalk in the neighborhood they lived in. Plants that nobody would really notice unless you looked closely. Or the little birds that took care of their families in the tree that stood outside their house. These little things were what made life worth living for. That made life special. Akashi was finding himself getting lost in the stars when suddenly, he heard a shriek and a scream come from beside him. Akashi turned his head to find Kenma standing dead still, hands covering his mouth in shock and tears forming in the corners of his eyes. Haikyuu rushed over to what they had just seen and Akashi was still confused until he saw it. It was a sight that nobody could possibly ever prepare for. It was BokuAka.